At HHS, I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it.
Dude,
wow.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
Wow. I'm not saying I was good at political messaging, but I did spend some time in political messaging, and a fired public servant is not someone I would ever advise any elected official of any political party to describe as a, quote, clown. But that was a Republican senator named Jim Banks calling a fired HHS worker a, quote, clown. That happened on the same day that R.F. Kennedy Jr.'s Health and Human Services Department laid off nearly 10,000 employees, with employees at the Centers for Disease Control, the Food and Drug Administration, and the National Institutes of Health, NIH, hit hardest. Officials are calling it a brain drain of scientists and researchers, people who are working on things like HIV prevention and treatment and Alzheimer's research. Those are the people that Senator Banks thinks are clowns and, quote, deserved to be fired because they are, quote, clowns. It is that level of, I don't even know what we call it, political incompetence, personal callousness, and indifference, which might help explain last night's results in Wisconsin, after Elon Musk, who is the face of those callous mass firings, made the judicial election there a complete referendum about himself. Just ask him. Everett, Basil, and Minnie are all back. Basil, where do Democrats go from here?
Well, I think working with organized labor, number one, working with folks to do something I'm saying before, which is that when in situations like this, when people are being pushed out or fired, number one, take them to court. Make sure that if this is going to be done, and make sure that they're doing it legally, and if not, make sure that folks are getting their jobs back and back to work. Number one. Number two, I do think using that messaging, putting that senator's sort of remarks front and center, calling that guy a clown, and saying you probably deserve it. How many of his constituents are facing a similar situation right now? I would go to each one of them and say,
I can't believe that happened. I'm not shocked anymore. Can I see that again? I'm never shocked. I'm never shocked. And I'd read the
who does
video.
that?
Can I see? Let's play that one more time. This is.
Hi, I was a worker at HHS. I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it.
Dude, that's
wow.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
That's just despicable. I can't imagine any elected official ever doing something like that to someone who could be a constituent, let alone, just on camera and going to work in the hallowed halls of our government. I mean, it's unimaginable. And I think Democrats need to call that behavior out and make sure they pin it to every single Republican who has cheered Elon Musk for this kind of firm. But I also think about pipeline. This is critically important. I remember doing some work for the Clinton Foundation and them talking about making HIV not a fatal illness, but a chronic disease. And the way you get there is by the research. The way you get there is making sure you invest in medication and information exchange. When you see the closing of, or the starving of USAID, when you see the laying off of these tens of thousands of workers, these are the least ideological people in government, even though the Trump administration points to them as ideological. They're not. These are folks whose work is rooted in research and objectivity, and you're going to get rid of them. So what do you have left? You lose that not only the brain drain, but you lose an entire pipeline of researchers, people that would normally go into this work because they want to save the world. They care about service, and now you're telling them there is no place for you.
Everett, the firings have been opposed by more judges who have said that they are fine. What is the path? What is the future in terms of the federal workforce?
Well,
it's hard as long as this administration continues to fire people for no reason whatsoever. It's going to be hard to even maintain people that have an interest in working for the federal government. However, you know, what we see, you know, and I think about what I just saw on television, is the epitome of the thought process of this administration. Since January the 20th, we've seen more and more of this from certain elected officials, and it's becoming a norm. And the American people needed to have seen that, and I think that the American people are roused up about that, and you're going to see action because of it. But as far as the federal workforce, you know, we are here, you know, and we're here to stay. AFGE is going to represent every member that's wrongfully terminated. We're going to take the administration to court, and we're going to get judges that's going to stand up for what's right, because right always wins, in my opinion. I am a man of faith. I believe that right wins. You know, you're going to get more and more judges to tell this administration why you lie, you know, why you can't tell the truth, you know, and the American people, they're getting that.
Minnie, you are doing this work. Minnie, let me give you this update from social media. Banks has made his profile picture on Elon Musk's platform a screen grab from the video. So he's proud to call a federal employee of HHS a, quote, clown who, quote, deserved to be fired. I wonder what his constituents think about cuts in government services.
This is the Trumpification of politics, right? These guys think they can shoot off one-liners insulting their constituents and get away with it because the president does this. This is presidential behavior now. The truth of the matter is they cannot get away with Donald Trump, what Donald Trump gets away with, and we're seeing it in these town hall meetings. We're seeing it on the ground. But I think the other critical piece of this campaign that we have to run collectively, Democrats and their allies, with our brothers and sisters in labor, is to explain in plain terms to the American people what resources they're being deprived of, what skill sets they will no longer be able to take advantage of because of these cuts to HHS. So, for example, I got an email earlier today from a supporter in California saying that someone she loves was laid off from HHS, and she was a reproductive technology researcher and scientist, literally responsible for the science and technology behind IVF. Meanwhile, Donald Trump claims to be the fertilization president, Nicolle. So look, when people can't get their cancer research, when people cannot get their Social Security checks, when people are not getting their IRS refunds, we've got to blow that up and be in the streets. And we have to explain to people that's what the federal government, that's what federal workers do for you.